Now you get to see some coaching, right? If you watch this year, you see the different formations. You see getting everybody involved, running the ball, right? Keeping everybody honest. And then the Packers are going to be a good, really, really good team, man. Very young.
Team. Very young.
The Green Bay Packers are a team that showed us so much promise last season, and it seems like they have found their franchise QB in Jordan Love. They literally made the playoffs in a year where they were supposed to still be rebuilding, and it's been crazy to see how fast they got back to relevancy after losing a QB like Aaron Rodgers. And to me, it was funny to see them still beat up on Chicago. But this year, the division definitely got even stronger, and I want to talk all about what the Packers did in the draft and in free agency to improve an already promising team. But before I get into everything, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. I am now on the road to 30k subscribers, and with your support, I believe we can get there super fast. Alright, so starting off with the draft, the Packers had a first round pick and 4 day 2 picks, so it was expected that they would land some top talent in their draft class. In the first round, the Packers opted to go with someone to protect their franchise QB by going with offensive tackle Jordan Morgan. Morgan was first team All Pac-12 Conference in 2023, 1 year after suffering a torn ACL. Morgan had a second round grade on him, but it was a need for the Packers after they finally departed with long-term starting tackle David Bakhtiari, after he missed much of the past few seasons with injury. The team drafted Morgan to potentially be the guy who replaces him for many years to come. On to the second round, they went defense with both picks as they first went with 2023 first team AP All-American Edgerrin Cooper. Cooper was a beast for Texas A&M, recording 84 tackles, 17 tackles for a loss, and 8 sacks in 2023. As for Javon Bullard, who started for a few years for Georgia, including a start in the national title game where he had 2 interceptions in their blowout win over TCU. Both of these guys should be immediate starters and big impact players on the defensive side for the Packers. In the third round, they took another linebacker in Missouri's Tyron Hopper, but the more interesting pick was running back Marshawn Lloyd. Lloyd suffered a few leg injuries, but had his best season most recently when he averaged 7.1 yards per carry for 820 yards and 9 touchdowns in 11 games. Lloyd will join a very good RB room, which already features AJ Dillon, and of course the newly brought in Josh Jacobs. Speaking of Josh Jacobs, the Packers did not make many free agent additions, but Jacobs was an absolutely huge one for them. Jacobs, after being arguably the best running back in the league in 2022, being the NFL's leading rusher with 1,653 yards and 12 touchdowns at 4.9 yards per carry, had a bit of a down year in 2023, as he saw those numbers drop to 805 yards, 6 touchdowns at 3.5 a carry. However, he only played 13 games last year, and it was for a very bad Raiders offense, which never really was able to get a passing threat going, so those numbers may not exactly represent how good Jacobs will be for the Packers. Jacobs will come in and immediately be a huge addition in the run game and complement Jordan Love very well. Besides Jacobs, another move worth noting they made was bringing in safety Xavier McKinney, who is coming off what might have been his best year last season with a career best 116 total tackles as well as 3 interceptions and 11 passes defended for the Giants. McKinney will be the starting safety opposite of most likely Javon Bullard, creating what could be a very good safety duo for the next year and the years to come. Now it's finally time to talk about the most important thing when it comes to the Green Bay Packers, and that is of course Jordan Love. After Aaron Rodgers was traded to New York last year, a lot of people thought the Packers were done because we had not really seen much from Love, so at that point, people thought that Jordan Love could not be good. However, he shocked a lot of people last year and showed many people that he is the next franchise QB for this team. Love posted 4,159 yards, 32 touchdowns, and only 11 interceptions, and also proved to be a rushing threat with 4 TDs on the ground, and led the Packers to the playoffs, which nobody thought would happen before the season. The scary part, I think, is that Jordan Love is not even as good as he could be yet, as last year was the first full year of NFL football for him, so with the experience and chemistry he now has with this young receiving core, a new first-round pick tackle, and a former NFL league-leading rusher just 2 years ago, this Packers offense should be even better, and we should see better numbers from Love. If you really watch Jordan Love and some of the throws he makes, he really has a potential to be a very good quarterback in this league and should be the next guy in line for the Packers after Favre and Rodgers, who is there and playing very good football for many years. One thing Jordan Love does need to clean up a little bit this year though is the turnovers, as he had 16 in the regular season last year, but I think with a whole offseason and another year of experience, we should see those numbers come down a little bit this year and the years to come. Another surprising factor for the Packers last year was how good their young and unproven receiving core really was. The crew of Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, and Dontavion Wicks on paper last year did not look very good, but they ended up playing very well, and that was with Christian Watson missing half of the season with injuries. It is no surprise that the Packers will be running it back with the same exact core this season because of how good they were and the chemistry Jordan Love developed with them and how well they all worked together. Jaden Reed was the main guy as he led the team with 793 yards and 8 touchdowns, while Doubs was right behind him with 674 yards and 8 TDs as well. Wicks put up a very solid 581 and 4, while Watson was only playing half the year and still had 422 and 5. This really is a well-balanced and good receiving core that will only get better as another year of playing with Jordan Love goes on, and they get a healthy Christian Watson back who proved how good he can be in his rookie season when he had 7 touchdowns. This should be a very exciting and dangerous wide receiving core this year, and I can't wait to see what they can do. As far as the offensive line goes, the Packers have a pretty solid group, which of course added a new first-round pick to it after the loss of Bakhtiari. It will be interesting to see how this group does this year, and not only protecting Jordan Love, but also how they block for Josh Jacobs in the run game, because obviously it is mostly on them to allow Jacobs to get back to those numbers he was putting up in 2022 when he led the NFL in rushing yards. I really do believe we should see an improvement in the run game as Morgan is a pretty solid run blocker, and they should be able to get good play from guys like Zach Tom and Jenkins, who are proven starters in the NFL in the trenches. The Packers defense is coming off a year in which they were around the middle of the pack as far as defensive rankings at 17 with 335.1 yards per game allowed, but this number took a huge hit in the playoffs where they allowed 433 yards per game. However, this number can be a bit misleading as a lot of the yards are from when they were up by so much against the Dallas Cowboys and were playing soft coverage. Anyways, this defense will look to take a jump under new defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley, who is the former head coach for Boston College. The D-line will be led by very familiar veterans in Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary, who posted a combined 17 sacks last year, and then of course Kenny Clark and Devontae Wyatt in the middle, who had a combined 13 sacks. So this unit proved that they can get to the quarterback, which is very important, and we should see even more of it this next season. In the second level, the Packers will be a bit younger after letting go of Devondre Campbell and bringing in Edgerrin Cooper and Tyron Hopper to go alongside Quay Walker. It will be interesting to see how this young group does together this year, and let me know in the comments below how you think they're going to do. In the secondary, we will of course see shutdown corner Jair Alexander, and opposite of him will be the very speedy Eric Stokes. In the back end, we will see the duo mentioned earlier of huge free agency addition Xavier McKinney and second round pick Javon Bullard. This defense should be much improved this year and could potentially see a jump into the top 10 as far as defensive rankings under new D coordinator Jeff Hafley. As far as expectations go for this team, they should absolutely be through the roof as they came up just short last year to a very good 49ers team who ended up winning the NFC and nearly won the Super Bowl. So they prove they can hang with the best of the best in the league. The division will be a very good race this year between the Packers and of course the Detroit Lions, but the Bears are much improved and the Vikings will not be a pushover as well. Saying all this, I think the Packers will likely win around 10 to 11 games this season as they play a very difficult schedule, being tied for the 4th highest strength of schedule in the league, but they should be competing for the division and could very well see themselves in the playoffs again after another great season from Jordan Love in the offense. That's really all I have to say for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, make sure to drop a like and subscribe because your support truly does mean the world. And also, let me know what you would like to see next with the NFL really starting to ramp up, and believe it or not, mandatory camps are actually about to be here before you know it. Also, one more thing, follow me on Instagram because I'm posting tons of cool sports content on there every single day. And until next time, I will see you all later.